Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 11th chapter, text number 15. So if everyone can turn, 556. If you can repeat, Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Pasami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Savam Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shangam.
Brahmanam Isham Kamalasana
Brahmanam Isham Kamalashanastam.
Vishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Pasyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Sarvam Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sagan.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shangam.
Brahmanam Isham Kamalasana
Brahmanam Isham Kamalashanastam.
Vishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvam Uragamscha Divyan.
Pasyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Sabham Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shankhan.
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam.
Brahmanamisham Kamalashanastam.
Vishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Chant.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna
Vacha. Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Sarvam Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shangan.
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam.
Brahmanamisham Kamalashanastam.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Sanghan.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shangan.
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastham.
Brahmanamisham Kamalashanastham.
Rishimscha Sarvan Urgamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan. Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shangan.
Sarvam Stata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan.
Brahmanamisham Kamalashanastam.
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Pashyami Devam Stava Deva Dehe.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Sangan.
Sarvam Statha Bhuta Vishesha Shangan.
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam.
Brahmanamisham Kamalashanastam.
Rishimscha Sarvan Urugamscha Divyan.
Rishimscha Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjun said,
Arjun said,
Yami,
Pashyami.
I see
I see
see
Devan,
Devan.
Devan,
all the demigods,
All
all
the
the
demigods.
demigods,
Abba,
Tava.
Tava,
your,
your,
Deva,
Deva.
Deva,
O Lord,
O
O
Lord.
Lord,
Dehe,
Dehe,
in the body,
in the body,
Sarvan,
Sarvan,
all,
all,
All.
Tata,
Tatha,
also,
also,
Also.
Bhuta,
Bhuta,
living entities,
living entities,
Jesha Sangan,
Visheshta Shanghan,
specifically assembled,
specifically assembled,
Brahmanam,
Brahmanam,
Lord Brahma,
Lord Brahma,
Isham,
Isham,
Lord Shiva,
Lord Shiva,
Kamala Asanastam,
Kamalashanastam,
sitting on the lotus flower,
sitting on the lotus flower,
Rishin,
Rishin,
great sages,
great sages,
Ka,
Cha,
also,
also,
Sarvan,
Sarvan,
all,
all,
Uragan,
Uragan,
serpents,
serpents,
Ja,
Cha,
also,
also,
Divyan,
Divyan,
divine.
divine.
Translation. Arjun said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma. Can you please mute everyone? I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages. Purport. Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial serpent upon which the Garbhodakshai Vishnu lies in the lower regions of the universe. This snake bed is called Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. Arjuna can see from the Garbhodakshai Vishnu up to the topmost part of the universe on the lotus flower planet where Brahma, the first creature of the universe, resides. That means that from the beginning to the end, everything could be seen by Arjuna, who was sitting in one place on his chariot. This was possible by the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivase Sasunyavadi Paschachade Satarane. So, read the translation again. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. So, I mean, we're reading this whole chapter. We're going to say a lot of the same things. Basically, Krishna sees everything. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahavishnu is one of his expansions. So Mahavishnu is also within Krishna. And within Mahavishnu is all the universes. And they come out when he breathes out. And we're in one of the universes. So he sees this whole universe. He can see even, he's only seeing this whole universe. But in Krishna himself is even Mahavishnu. Apparently he's not seeing that. He's just seeing this universe. So this is just a little bit of what you can see in Krishna's form. And so in this universe, you see Garbhodakshai Vishnu all the way up to Brahma. He's lying on the Garbha ocean, laying on the serpent named Vasuki. And also here it says there are also other snakes known as Vasuki. I was reading a few things about Vasuki. There's plenty of things written about him. He's the king of the serpents. Now, I think that this Vasuki that Vishnu is lying on I didn't read this. It's just what I'm thinking. I'm always thinking that this is a transcendental snake. This is not a material snake or very powerful king of the snakes, but this is a special snake. So I think that's why Prabhupada apparently says there are also other snakes known as Vasuki. So the Vasuki that we know is the king of the snakes. Well, Krishna in the previous chapter says, of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the Surabi. Of causes for fear, of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love. And of serpents, I am Vasuki. Now, what serpent in Vasuki is he talking about? I've always understood that to mean 1028. I don't know if it actually says in here, but I always took it to mean not the form of the snake that's holding up Garbhadakshay Vishnu. Now, I don't know if it says anything in here. Let's see. I don't see anything about it in the purport. But there's this king of the snakes. He's really huge. For instance, the demigods and the demons, they wanted to churn the ocean of milk. So this was a whole elaborate plan. Even Matsya, an incarnation of the tortoise, came to help out. And Krishna was above this, the churning rod. They had a churning rod. So just like when we churn milk, I noticed, I don't know if he's still there, but Dulal Krishna was on. He's our cowherd boy for getting everything ready for churning milk. We have, yeah, he's still there. We have a rope, and we pull the rope. So they needed a big rope. They didn't have a big rope. So they asked Vasuki if he'll be the rope. So they're going to churn this big rod to churn the milk to get this nectar. And this nectar will make you immortal. And they're going to give, they promised Vasuki, they'll give him some of the nectar, some of what they get from this. So he agreed to do this. And the snake, Vasuki, was so huge. I mean, tremendously huge. That they also were fighting, the demigods and the demons. The demons wanted the head because they didn't want the back of the snake. That's like the back is, snake passes stool from there and stuff. So they didn't want that. So they wanted the head of the snake, and the demons wanted the head of the snake. So they told the demigods to get the back. And Krishna already told the demigods to get the back of the snake. So what happens when they start churning, the many heads, Vasuki has many heads, and fire is coming out of his heads, and the demons are getting all burnt up. So it was a bad decision they made to fight for the head of the snake. But that snake was Vasuki, using this big snake to churn the milk. Another interesting thing I found, which I didn't know, I did remember that about Vasuki for the churning, but also when Matsya appeared. Now, I didn't read this whole story because I read it a long time ago, and I don't remember it. But it's when they're saving the residents of the earth, certain residents of the earth, saving the Vedas, and they had this boat, and they used Vasuki to tie him from the boat to the horn of Matsya, this fish incarnation. So that way, when it was tossing and turning, the fish kept the boat going straight and not turning over. So Vasuki is engaged there also in helping out with saving the earth, saving everyone. Not everyone, but everyone on there. And everything was pitch black, and it says the only light there was from the sages. They were so bright, they lit up the place. Now you're looking at me like,
Maybe they see
Uh,
a effulgence.
But also, and then another interesting thing with Vasuki, when he agreed to churn to churn the milk ocean to be on the churning rod, he didn't want to go because Vishnu came when he agreed to go, but then he saw Vishnu was riding on Garuda. So Vishnu told the Garuda to go away because Vasuki didn't want to come. Because Garuda, generally devotees are vegetarians, but Garuda is not a vegetarian and he eats snakes. And Vasuki eats big snakes too, it says. So Vasuki was afraid Garuda might eat him. I mean, and he's huge. But so Garuda didn't need him because Krishna didn't want him to, and Vasuki came and everything was done. So that's a little bit something about Vasuki. And also there's, in Cambodia, there's a temple. I don't know, is it a temple? They have it.
Yeah, actually, there's hundreds of temples there in Cambodia, but the main one, which is the national.
Okay, hold on. Jiva's going to tell you about this.
Maybe you've heard of Angkor Wat. Everybody heard of Angkor Wat? Yes? No?
We don't know, we can't hear him, but
Yes.
maybe-
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, yes.
Yes. It's very famous in Cambodia. It's their national symbol. They even have it on their flag and on their banknotes. But Angkor Wat was built in the first half of the 12th century, and it's spread across 400 acres of land. And there's a big moat around it. And inside, I've never been there, but years ago when I was in school, I wrote a report on it. But they have statues of hundreds and hundreds of demigods on one side and demons on the other, and they're holding on to Vasuki. And Mount Meru is the main temple. Originally it was built for Lord Vishnu, but nobody knows why, but the whole Angkor Wat, the Khmer dynasty fled from there, and the Buddhists took it over later. It was abandoned, and I think they replaced some of the statues and everything. So some people think it's dedicated to Buddhism, but actually it was dedicated to Lord Vishnu. And it was built by a king. His name was Surya Varman II. And the town used to be known as Yashodharapura. And this king, he broke away from the Shaivite tradition. The previous kings all were worshiping Lord Shiva, but he built this huge temple dedicated to Lord Vishnu. And they're working on restoring it now.
I have something to say about Angkor Wat.
Have you been there?
I've not been there, but I saw a National Geographic piece on that.
Uh-huh.
And it was pretty amazing. I mean, this guy was not a devotee who did the whole piece, but
Right.
he said that on satellite images, they could see the older Angkor Wat,
Uh-huh.
how the agriculture worked and how I think there's a river or around it. I forget the
There's
name
a
of
whole
the river.
moat, a whole moat.
But
Yeah.
but there's a river also that flows into that moat, perhaps,
Oh.
and the kings, they worshipped Vishnu so well, and this is in the National Geographic piece. They worshiped the Lord with such devotion that the dynasty flourished for many generations. And
They said there were like 1 million people there living there.
right, but in the satellites they can see how the farmland was built, that during the during the normal season, the water would flow into their fields and everything, but during the rainy season the river actually flowed in a different direction. They can see that in the satellites. And he says, this is why they flourished so well, that it was their devotion to the Lord and their worship created the flow of the water and their prosperity.
Wow.
And this was in the National Geographic piece. And they don't know why it happened. We, of course, know why it happened because of their devotion to the Lord.
Yeah.
And the worship that they did there. But after many generations, I don't know, I'm sure the kings might have become corrupt.
Yeah, they said they don't know. They say nobody knows why they abandoned. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they deteriorated in their worship and the worship became more materialistic. I don't know.
I don't know.
May I ask a question?
Very interesting place. I'd like to go see it sometime. Yes.
So when they removed the statues from this temple, do you know if they did it in I guess there isn't a respectful way to remove a statue of Vishnu from his temple, but it just, the thought of it upsets me. And I guess there's probably no one answer to it, but is there some procedure for typically like relocating them to if a building's deteriorating, do they relocate the muertis? I call them muertis, I apologize, but is there a method for relocating them respectfully, or I know typically?
Well, devotees would do that, but not non-devotees. They just think it's some idol, and they would not do it respectfully. The devotees, like for instance, when the Mohammedans were coming to destroy some temples in Vrindavan, the devotees took the deities out and they brought them ultimately to Jaipur. And of course that was done respectfully because they're devotees. They're bringing their Lord to protect them, save them. But if the Muslims would have come, they wouldn't have treated the items, the articles of worship by the Hindus respectfully. So it's just a crazy world. We have to try to chant Hare Krishna, be sincere, do some service, read Prabhupada's books, and go back home, back to Godhead, and not have to come back here where so many horrible things are always happening. And sometimes Krishna has to create some virus to just give some punishment to make people a little nicer. I find people seem to be nicer. When we take a walk, we see people at quite a distance. People, they wave, they say hello. And previously they never even did that. But anyway, we'll see what happens. The atmosphere seems to be getting cleaner. So many things. Oh, I don't know if you can see this. Are we on? Can you see us?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see, because I never see us. Can you
Yes,
see
yes.
that? I don't know if you could see
Can you
it.
hold it a little higher?
It's
Yeah,
said
now we
to
can
be, it's said
Oh,
to be the
beautiful.
largest religious monument in the world.
Yeah.
That's what they
In-
say.
In fact, a lot of it has not even been excavated. It's still in the jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to get it up there better.
Looks
You can
beautiful.
look
Now we can
online
see
too,
it.
Angkor
This
Wat.
is so pretty to look at. Angkor
Wat.
It's in Cambodia.
Angkor.
Angkor Wat in Cambodia. There was a chapter in our middle school.
Oh,
It's
And-
interesting because, Vedic culture was everywhere in the world, So Cambodia, there's a beautiful temple at one time.
but
And
the whole
Cambodia.
theme of it, the temple is this churning of the milk ocean. The main temple is Mount
wow.
Meru, and then they have the demigods on one side and the demons on the other.
Mhm.
It's
And Cambodia is also known was Cambodge, the kingdom of Cambodge.
Cambodia.
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 What is that? What's Cambodia?
Cambodia in our Vedic literature is actually the kingdom of Cambodge. But it was originally in the Vedic literature it's known as Cambodge, Khambhoj.
It is a dynasty in India ruled by, different parts of the world, like maybe Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
I don't know
northern
even.
eastern up India and all that. Yeah, Cambodia. There was a dynasty we read in school in history.
No, but even in the Vedic literatures, Kamboj Raja, I don't even know. Is it there
Yeah.
in the Bhagavad Gita? I don't know. Maybe Ganapati Govind would know. He remembers everything.
It's in Bhagavatam, I think so.
Bhagavatam, yeah. in Bhagavatam,
Andhra, Pulinda,
yeah,
like that. You
Pulinda, yeah,
Nishada.
yeah.
Maybe
I've
there
definitely,
you come across Kamboj. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Kamboj it's there in the Bhagavatam for sure. Yes.
We can look up.
Somebody could look up. Anyway,
I will.
I'm going to read. I wanted to read three more verses because they're pretty much just verses and no purports. Well, there's one verse that has one sentence purport, but let's see. That was 15. I'll read this verse again. Arjun said, "My dear." So now Arjun is speaking to Krishna again here. My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods, the various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. And this is the verse that has a very short purport. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unlimited. Thus, through him, everything could be seen. So, and you can get the idea that you see everything. You could just name anything and it's there. And these are some of the things he's seeing that he's kind of focusing on. Everything is there. It's like, oh my God. Of course, my God is Krishna. But this is it's just scary. I got a little more time. Okay, I'm going to read the next verse. I'll read the Sanskrit. You can repeat, but then we're just going to read the translation after. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha.
Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha.
Tejo rasim savato diptimantam.
Tejo rasim sarvato diptimantam.
Pasyami tvam durniriksham samantad.
Pashyami tvam durniriksham samantad.
Diptanalarka dutim aprameyam.
Diptanalarka dyutim apremyam.
Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire, or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. Okay, read the next verse. Tvam aksharam paramam veditavyam.
Tvam aksharam paramam
Veditavyam.
Tvam asya vishvasya param nirdanam.
Tvam asya vishvasya param nidanam.
Tvam avyayas shashvata dharma gopta.
Tvam
Avyaya shashvata dharma gopta.
Sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
Sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. So he's seeing all this, he's bewildered. Then he mentions this. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. So we generally, when Krishna gives his opinion or the devotees give their opinion, we generally accept what their opinion is. So Krishna's opinion is that Arjun's opinion is that Krishna is the source of everything, and he is the personality of Godhead. And we would have to agree with that opinion. Actually, speaking of opinion, I may have told this already, but maybe some of you didn't hear it. Devotee, a woman devotee, she was married. She has one daughter. Her husband left, and then the husband passed away, and she wanted to remarry. But she knew that Chanaka Pandit says for a woman to remarry is an enemy to her son. So she didn't have a son, she had a daughter. So she also had a brother who's a devotee. This is, of course, Srila Prabhupada, not of course, but it's when Srila Prabhupada was present. So they're going to go see Srila Prabhupada. She's going to talk. It's a very, old days when people can go see Srila Prabhupada relatively easy. And she wants to talk to Srila Prabhupada. She wants to get remarried. And she brings her brother with her for support, and she tells her brother a certain code that when, if it's some problem, I'll say this, whatever it is, and then you say that she wants to get remarried because she needs a husband to protect her. So that was the code for her brother to chime in and tell Srila Prabhupada that. So they both go up to see Srila Prabhupada, and she starts talking, and she mentions to Srila Prabhupada that about getting married, and she wants to know if Srila Prabhupada's going to forbid her from remarrying. And Srila Prabhupada says, I would never forbid you from anything, something like that. I would never forbid you. And she felt great relief. And then he said, but if you want my opinion. And then she said, when she was telling the story, she said, what am I going to say? I don't want your opinion. So his opinion was, that she doesn't. And she mentioned about Chanaka Pandit, and Prabhupada said, it doesn't matter, a son or daughter, it doesn't make a difference. You're an enemy to your son or your daughter if you remarry. But he didn't forbid her, but it's just interesting how he said, but if you want my opinion. Actually, I just mentioned this not long ago to Naranjana Swami. He really liked it a lot that Prabhupada asked. Prabhupada didn't force us. He didn't make us. He wanted us to do certain things, but he didn't want for us to commit such a great offense of Guru Aparad by not doing what disobeying his orders. So he doesn't give orders, but he gives his opinion. This is what he would like, but if you don't do it, that's okay. I just think Prabhupada is just so kind and so merciful. Anyway, Naranjana Swami liked that, because he has, of course, many disciples, and they want certain things, and so he's probably gonna, if he ever talks to you when you want to tell him something you'd like to do, and he's really against it, he doesn't forbid you, but he said, but if you want my opinion, you know where he got it from.
But what did that lady do finally?
I don't know, but I'm sure she remarried. This was like how many years ago, She wanted to get married.
We don't know.
But her husband passed away. It wasn't like they got divorced. That's not the point of the story, Gitamala.
I know. Actually, Niranjan Maharaj told me a story like that about, or to some of his disciples, about about one of his disciples who asked him the exact same question.
And what did he say?
He said the same thing. He did not forbid her. I think he said, do whatever you feel is right or something, because that was a very severe case. It was in Russia. Where,
He's got a lot of those cases. I know.
Yeah, where women have a hard time finding a husband.
Well, it's not just that, they can't live on their own very easily in Russia.
Right. And this disciple was marrying a Muslim, so she felt she could still be Krishna conscious, but he was obviously a rich man who could provide for her. And in Russia, it's very difficult to find somebody. So she felt she needed, someone to take care of
the material world is full of problems. What Prabhupada says is perplexities at every step. Therefore, it behooves one to approach a spiritual master to get free from these perplexities. But then you got a spiritual master, he tells you what to do and you don't do it. So Krishna will take care of you. Mugrari is a hunter who at one time he lived just as half killing animals because he learned that from his father. And then eventually the animals die, but he makes them suffer more. But anyway, pretty mean guy. But he wasn't really a mean guy. He didn't really know any better. He wasn't so bright. But Narada Muni saw him, and Narada Muni told him, if you're going to kill animals, kill them. Just kill them. Don't do this. And then they went into, he learned this from his father, blah, blah, blah. So then Narada Muni, he wanted to surrender to Narada Muni. And Narada Muni, the first thing he told him was, okay, break your bow. First thing you do is break your bow. He didn't want to do that because that's his means of livelihood. He said, well, if you want to surrender to me, if you want these instructions from me, first you have to break your bow. So he broke his bow. Then Narada Muni told him to go to go back to your home and take everything of value and give it in charity to the Brahmanas, and keep only for you and your wife, only one set of clothes, one set of cloths. That's it. And then just worship Tulsi. That's it. Now, he didn't say, how am I going to live? There's no way I can do that. I gotta hunt. That's the only thing, He did it. He had faith in his guru. If you have faith in your guru, look at Prabhupada. He had faith in his guru coming at 70 years old to the country with no money. How is he supposed to preach Krishna consciousness to these people who were in the mode of ignorance and passion? But he had faith in his guru and he did it. And he thought he may die in America. And certainly the other people from India, many of them thought he would die here. How was he going to live? So if you have faith in the words of your guru and you're following strictly what your guru instructions, then Krishna will take care of you. He complained. There's one complaint he had is they gave, when Narada Muni came back again with, what did he come back with? Parvat Muni. These Munis, hang out, eat together. And then when Magari, he saw him, he ran, and he went to bow down, but before bowing down, there were ants. So he took his cloth and moved the ants away. He wouldn't even kill an ant now and bowed down. And he was just so happy to see his guru. And he said, I'm getting more food because all the people from the village are giving him everything because now he surrendered to Krishna. He surrendered to Krishna through Narada Muni. So, and he said that the problem now is it's too much food. He doesn't know what to do with it. So if he can just get enough food just for one day, not even more than one day. How many people went out for food for just one day during this crisis here? Anyway, so I think if you're really if you're really sincere, you have faith in Guru and Krishna, you have nothing to worry about, no matter what your situation is. If you just follow the instructions, Krishna will take care of you. Yeah, and it's a question of faith. And if you have that faith, he will take care of you. Okay, any comments or questions?
Prabhu, I went out only one day because I had stocked up already.
You what?
I went out only one day because I had stocked up already.
Stocked up already.
Oh.
If you don't have faith, will Krishna take care of you? You said if you have faith, Krishna will take care of you. If you don't have faith, will he take care of you?
If you don't have the faith, then you're going to take care of yourself.
So
If you're dependent on Krishna, just like a child, a young baby, completely dependent on its parents, the parents completely take care of him. As a child grows older and older, and it depends less on the parents. The parents don't take care of him as much. They take care of themselves. So if you're completely dependent on Krishna, he will definitely take care of you. But if you're not, then you're on your own. Take care of yourself.
As they surrender, I reward them accordingly.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Shiva just said, as they surrender, reward them accordingly. Yes, Billy.
I'm sorry, there's a delay, so if I interrupted you, Jiva, I apologize.
What?
No. She said she apologized if she interrupted me. There's a delay.
Yeah, I know there is a delay. This time it's not me.
Go ahead.
Okay, so thank you. I guess I was in bed this morning, kind
Your
of.
microphone is not working so well. Something's wrong.
Oh. Maybe I'll type it. Are you able to hear me now?
I can hear you. It's just breaking up, kind of.
Oh.
A little better now.
Your mic is great, Gitamala.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
I don't want to ask the question if I have a bad mic because I don't want to be misunderstood, because that could be a recipe for disaster.
In the chat, yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I'll do that.
Yeah, Prabhuji. My
I
question
can't hear
is,
you. Can you speak louder?
Yeah, can you hear me well now?
Yes.
In this particular verse, at the end, Arjuna said, "This is my opinion." And before that line, all the lines that Arjuna said, those are the facts about the Lord. Then how do we see why Arjuna has to say, "This is my opinion," if those are the facts already?
Where does it say these are the facts?
All the lines, those are mentioned by Arjuna. Like,
Where does it say these are the facts?
if I go those lines are stated in Bhagavatam too, right, Pyari Prabhuji?
The point
Like
I'm
he's the
getting
eternal
at,
maintainer.
the point I'm getting at is Arjuna is not telling Krishna this is the facts. He's telling him all these things which are facts. These are also facts, even what he said, but he said, this is my opinion. Krishna also says, iti te matihi. This is my opinion. Krishna is saying it's opinion. So it's kind of like in a way, like a humble way of saying it. This is what I think. You know, somebody might think something else. It's not, they're all facts. It's not because he says it's his opinion that it may not be a fact, because I mentioned it earlier, the opinion of Krishna, the opinion of Arjuna, the opinion of great devotees, we accept them as facts.
I think he's saying that because he doesn't want to presume to know Krishna, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's also, yes.
But also after seeing all this, it's kind of like evident also. This is my opinion. He's concluded.
But like Pyari said, I think it's a humble way of saying that.
Yeah, that's my opinion. I mean, we can argue if you don't think it's true. I mean, Of course, he's not going to argue with
You are the
Krishna.
primal object. You're the ultimate rest in the universe. You're inexhaustible. You're. This is my opinion. Yeah.
Right.
But what else can you conclude?
Right. It's not just his opinion. His opinion is a fact. So it's like I can, someone else may say it's their opinion and someone may have a different opinion, but whatever the devotee's opinion is, that is a fact. And if you look at what he says, they're all facts. But you come off a little puffed up telling God, but this is a fact.
He's the one seeing it. Right
Yes, yesterday I was reading a little Prabhupada Leela. In Bombay, I think Prabhupada was doing so much when he was building those 3 temples in India that some devotee, I can't remember, I don't think it was Shyam Sundar, says to Prabhupada, we wish we had half your energy, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada goes, why half? You can have, double my energy, he goes. He says, I had more energy than my, I had doubled the energy in doing things than my Guru Maharaj, and you will have triple or quadruple the energy that I have, he goes. And then the devotee humbly says, if you give us the energy, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, yes, you have my blessings, he goes.
Yeah, but we're not as surrendered to Prabhupada as Prabhupada was to Bhakti Siddhanta.
Mm-hmm. But all his disciples were like amazed that they just could not keep up with him.
Right. Right.
Not sleeping.
I know I would have never made it for maybe 2 days at the most with Prabhupada, like a servant, maybe 2 days.
And his disciples were in their 20s at the time.
His disciples what?
We're in the 20s.
His disciples were in their 20s at that time.
Yes. Okay, how about Billy? Billy, where's your
computer's having some problem.
Oh. Okay, any other questions?
She's trying to sign back in.
Yeah.
Oh, she's trying to sign back in apparently.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
Prabhu, you said Garuda is not vegetarian. Then how can Garuda be a devotee of Krishna?
How can he? Are you asking me how he can be a devotee? Because I kind of said that earlier.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, he's a devotee. He's got a snake's body, so he eats. He's got a bird's body, like an eagle, so he eats snakes. Different living entities have different prescribed foods. If you look at the human body, according to the teeth, if you read that in the beginning of the book, A Higher Taste, there's a graph. Our teeth are more like an herbivore's teeth. There's animals who eat meat. There's animals that eat plants, and our teeth are like the herbivores. The intestines for the meat eaters is, I think, 7 times their body length, and for the herbivores, it's like 12 times their body length. So our intestines is longer. Our teeth are different. The stomach acids are not so strong like the herbivores, whereas the meat eaters' stomach acids are real strong. So in every way, we fit in the category of non-meat eaters. We have a human body. So now, this bird, Garuda, he doesn't have a human body. He has a bird body. Obvious, maybe it's not so obvious to everyone, but for most devotees can think, but he could still eat seeds. He can eat, but he doesn't. He doesn't. Why he doesn't? I don't know, but he doesn't. He eats snakes, big snakes.
I understood. Thank you. I was only thinking that a devotee would only eat prasadam from Krishna. So Krishna definitely doesn't eat snake. So how can...
I know. He's a carrier of Lord Vishnu also, right, Garuda?
Right.
How can he be the seat of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be a meat eater?
Well,
That's a good question.
Yeah, we've thought about that a lot, and we've just, I mean, personally, I just accept that it's all Krishna's plan. He has that particular body and he eats that, and Krishna's fine with it. It's like a lion that eats meat. Of course, when Lord Chaitanya went to the Jarikhanda forest, the lions, the deer, they were all dancing and chanting. After he got through the forest, I don't know what they were doing. But at least while he was there, they were really in bliss. It seems hard to understand.
I have a comment.
What's your comment?
So as soon as Garuda eats snakes, and then Lord Vishnu comes on his back, and then he is sanctified.
And then he's what?
He's sanctified.
Sanctified.
Oh, he's
Like Lord Krishna, when Lord Krishna touches, he killed Putana. Putana was having different kinds of fragrance. It was not like ordinary.
Right. I don't think though. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it's exactly like that. I think Garuda is always sanctified, even eating snakes.
The Chinese people should offer the snakes first to Garuda before eating them, right?
Yes, they should.
Prabhu, just once, I never read it. One idea came to my mind. Is it possible that Garuda doesn't really eat snake? It just kills whenever it's like a bad snake, whenever it's necessary?
Well, I just read where in the Krishna book, actually, I may have it here. Yeah, this here. Being accustomed to eating snakes, Garuda used to come to this island and kill many serpents at will. Some of them he actually ate, but some were unnecessarily killed. The reptile society became so disturbed that their leader, Vasuki, appealed to Lord Brahma. Now, Vasuki is this snake, but he's able to talk to Lord Brahma for protection. Lord Brahma made an arrangement by which Garuda would not create a disturbance. On each half-moon day, the reptile community would offer a serpent to Garuda. The serpent was to be kept underneath a tree as a sacrificial offering to Garuda. Garuda was satisfied with this offering, and therefore he did not disturb any other serpents.
Wow.
Only in the material world,
And that's in the Krishna book.
you know.
Yeah, she's saying it's only in the material world. In the spiritual world, he eats chocolate snakes.
There's no birth and death in the spiritual world. Right?
Right. Who?
Do they eat chocolate in the spiritual world?
No,
Say by mistake.
no, I don't have it.
Lower hand. You lower the hand now.
No, I don't have it.
You must.
We're going to have to punish you.
I don't have it.
Oh, you are. That was a
Do we chant it?
mistake.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Okay, so we're gonna end class now, and we're gonna go into a party. I'm gonna have a birthday party. We're not gonna have any cake. Wait, John?
We should see where is Haripriya.
Yeah, we'd like to see it. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah, you can see.
I can't see anything.
Haripriya's turning 1 today.
Raga Sindhu Prabhu, you.
Oh, there they are. Oh, you see it.
Extra chat.
They have to talk. They have to make more noise than everyone else.